That'll work. Now warm up your hands before you go get the other one though. Oh man, our thing came over. We brought him just in time. So we are making our hoop house, kind of making like a little area with raised beds all over the place here. We got our strawberry bed and it's already ready, it's planted with strawberries. There's a video if you want to check that out. I'll post it at the end of this video. You can check that out, how we made that. So we're gonna do another strawberry raised bed, a pot right here. What's up? Oh, you're cold?
I want you to... Dad, I want you to pull up my sleeve.
Oh.
No, not like that.
Oh, you want to...
Yeah, like
over your hands. I got you. Okay.
Huh.
So we got this is just an old crate, freebie. We're fill it with dirt. Probably maybe more strawberries. I don't know. Might be something. We might put potatoes in there actually. That's got a lot of depth to it, or something that requires like a lot of roots that roots down a lot. So this is an old galvanized tub, watering tub, and it's got holes in it. So it's not good for watering purposes anymore, but it is great. I'm gonna drill some holes in it actually, because as you can see, it does hold a lot of water the way it's sloped and stuff. But I'm gonna drill some holes in that, and then we're gonna fill that with dirt and plant in there. As you can see, I got this old wood. This is really already started to rot pretty well. And when it gets wet, when it has soil on top of here, it's gonna hold a lot of moisture. And so the roots will be able to move around them and it won't affect them that much, but it's gonna hold all that moisture in there. So when it rains, the water soaks down, the water soaks in these logs, and then some of the water will go through the bottom, but of course a lot of water, these will become waterlogged and they'll hold and retain moisture for a long period of time. And so these beds will remain wet for a lot longer, and they'll be able to pull that moisture from those in the soil. So that'll help the strawberries out a lot. We're gonna do that. It's kind of like hugulkulter. If you've looked at that, if you're not sure what hugulkulter is, there, comment below and I'll do a little video describing what that's all about. You know, of course you can research it too, but so I can also put I'm gonna also put some logs and branches and whatnot in the bottom of this, and so we'll have that same effect on all of these. So we live kind of out in the middle of nowhere, down like a we don't have a lot of houses here. We just have like the one neighbor way over there, but I think a lot of people dump their dogs and their cats at our house or on this gravel, and they kind of just show up here. So we have a lot of dogs, we have a lot of cats. So I seen a fluffy, what looked like a house cat, but she wasn't very friendly. She wouldn't come to me, but she's been hanging out underneath of our barn for a while. So what I'm gonna do, or what we're gonna do, is we're gonna set kind of like a live trap, maybe see if we can kind of tame her down.
Don't let the other cats get in there.
Right, yeah.
Oh, so I was...
Well, I believe that this is broken. I'm 100% sure, because there's gotta be a wire that goes from here over and it links into this, and then it moves that up and down. But no, I mean I do. The one where I told you underneath the bench before.
Oh, I'll go get it.
We've got to do some repair work on that, dude. So anyway, constantly having new cats around here and dogs, right? Just putting these branches at the bottom of this, like I said earlier, just it'll break down over time, and it's a way to get rid of these. It's like active compost. Of course, there's not as much air as you'd want in a regular compost, but it retains moisture. You know, it breaks down, gets nutrients as it breaks down, and we get rid of our lawn clippings and things like that this way. And it takes up a lot of the bulk of the container, so that we don't have to fill the entire thing with soil. And the roots just kind of move around them where they want to go. They just move at the point that's, you know, the least resistance, right? So they send out roots, and when they hit something that's like a log or something, they just move along it and get around it, and then they retain energy and nutrients from that. What?
Are you recording?
I don't know. So my new box here is just basically a old dresser that it's gotten some water damage to the bottom. This is not gonna hold up very long because it is like plywood. It's gonna soak up water like crazy. But if it lasts 1 year, then cool. You know, I will, it'll break down and just barn it or whatever next year. But it's cheap, it's easy, it's quick. You know, I don't have to build any raised beds, so works out pretty good. We have a pile of the duck eggs and a pile of chicken eggs. So quite a size difference. Let's throw some light. Can't find any light here. So duck egg and chicken egg. So I'd say they're about twice as big.
This side.
Yeah. We can move the wheelbarrow if you want. Just pile it all around it. Like around the edge of it, you know, like I am here. So that the weeds don't grow up next to it. Gonna have a hoop house in the midst of all this. It's gonna be our kind of center focal point for early spring planting and whatnot. So basically the concept is pretty simple. A trampoline is rounded. I don't know what these are. I think they measure 14 foot. And so we have these, if you take them off, they take two 14-foot trampolines, circular trampolines, and you basically have 4 main circular beams for what is going to basically constitute the main part of the hoop house. The rest is trying to figure out how to brace them all together so that they stay together and stays up. So the big thing is we're going to have, what my idea is we're going to have railroad ties that are going to go along the bottom, and those are going to be where we hold the plastic down at the bottom, and they're also going to support these legs from kind of coming out, right? And so I haven't exactly figured out everything yet, but Weston, the other day, he beat these down on these ends. So we're going to drill a hole through this and through this, and we're going to bolt a hole. So these are going to go down on there like that. And then we're going to do the same thing where this is bowed. If I can't cut that, or if I can't bend that to be straight, we'll probably cut it off and we'll pound this down flat like we did the other side, and then that will be on the same thing. We'll take the other beam and we'll bolt a beam right there, so it'll essentially look like this. I'll have one main beam coming down the middle, and I'm just gonna prop this up here. We'll basically have one main beam coming down the middle, and if I can find some more of what those things that he's got over there, we'll probably put one right there and right there, and so that will hold the plastic on. So the only thing we're going to be buying is the plastic. One of these trampolines was left here when we got here, and the other one is one of our old ones that no longer works. It's been basically the mat and everything is ripped up. It's actually cheaper when you get them on sale to just buy a new trampoline, but there's no sense in letting this go to waste. So we have the mat, which actually makes an incredibly good shade cloth. So I see it, you can see through it a little, but it definitely blocks out a large majority of the sun. So during the hot summer days, we can place this over our hoop house, tie it down, which it already has these for tie downs conveniently, And we can construct something with some of those bungee cords to the bottom of our, maybe put a nail in our railroad ties and then bungee cord it down like that. And I actually have, I don't have the one that was left here, but I have this one, and then I have the net that goes around the side, the safety net. And so it's not quite, it's gonna let more sun through, but it'll I think I can cover the whole hoop house with shade cloth. So that's the project going on. I'm going to post a separate video of just doing the hoop house, but this is kind of part of my blog and what I got going on. So check it out. Make sure you subscribe. Got a ton of stuff coming up. It's going to be all about homesteading, how to grow your own food. You know, with all the times that are going on right now, you just really never know what's going to happen. So it's always good to be prepared. It's always good to know and have that knowledge now of how to make your own food and how to grow your own food, and not spend a bunch of money doing it or having a bunch of supplies. You know, use what you got. So if you like that kind of stuff and you want to learn more about that kind of stuff, make sure to subscribe. So if you're trying to do this concept, what I was talking about, filling the beds, and you're thinking like, what do you want to use? You can use green wood and it'll work. But this stuff right here is like, if you can find this, then oh my gosh, you're in business, because this is a log, but it's been sitting outside so long that it's just so crumbly. I mean, like, look at this one right here. So this is a log, right? And it's been sitting like in a wet spot. Now let's take a top of this and look at this. That is all just like organic soil. It's completely broken down, and that's what eventually all this will turn into. But this is already at that point. I mean, look at how it retains moisture. You squeeze it together. Look at that. Oh man, this is perfect stuff right here. I mean, you just cannot get any better than that. Stuff that we're putting in the bottom of this, whenever, like in 2 or 3 years, we're gonna dig this up and none of these are gonna be here. It's all gonna be dirt. That's where, you know, that's all this stuff breaks down. Like, it gets smaller and smaller until it eventually turns into dirt.
When most of it is dirt, like a whole bunch of this is soil and dirt.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been sitting there so long. It doesn't take very long, really, if you have water, and then air helps. But, you know, obviously this won't have very much air, but it's gonna be wet all the time, or a lot, and it's just gonna break down fast. This stuff is just really, really good.
So we're using this for,
This is, it, you know, it has nutrients for the plants.
so are we using this for like the plants, or to save it from the apocalypse, like the coronavirus?
Well, we're using it for the plants, so that we can grow the plants, we can eat the plants to save us from everything, because you got to know how to grow your own food if you want to survive anything. It doesn't really matter what it is. So I just discovered my ducks have been laying eggs for quite a while now, and they just haven't told me. So I got a whole bunch, probably 2 dozen here, and I don't know how long they've been here, so obviously I can't use them. They've been laying them here in this corner. And so, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a marking on a few of them. It says bad, and then a big X. And I'm going to put a couple of them back. And that way they want to keep laying there. Because if they see a couple eggs there, for some reason, it just seems like they want to lay in that spot. So I'm going to mark all over this. It's kind of hard to do when you've got a camera and 2 dozen eggs in your hoodie, but I'm just basically making marks so that I know that these are the 2 that I don't know how long they've been in here, and I don't go try to eat them. So I know that now that new eggs here that have, you know, no markings on them, they're all good to eat. So I'll check them every day, and I won't get them mixed up, right? So these eggs are not gonna go to waste though, because I'm gonna use them in my garden as compost, and also in my tomato beds, so they will not go to waste. But I would like to start eating some, so now we will have fresh ones every day, and we can check them. We know where to check. All right, so open this up, buddy. You want to open it up? Finish it. So we use this for they basically break down our kitchen scraps, and they make really good soil, and we use it for worm tea, potting soil. Oh, we need some scissors. I might be able to pull it off. Wanna go get some scissors? And so, yeah, it breaks down the rabbit feces and the coffee grinds. So we have really good soil, and we don't waste anything. All right, so let's see if they are alive.
They're alive, all right.
Oh yeah, can you check that out? One's already trying to get out of here. So they look pretty good. They look really lively. We're gonna get them in some soil and some scraps pretty quick and get them a little bit warmer. I think they've got a little cold. They're moving pretty slow. So they are alive. These were from Buckeye Organics. I tried Uncle Jim's worm farm last time. They're really popular, obviously. If you look up worms, they're probably the first thing that's gonna come up. But I have a pretty deep-seated suspicion that those were not actual red wigglers that Uncle Jim sent me. And these look a lot bigger than the ones I got from Uncle Jim's worm farm. So I have there's some promise that these are actually red wigglers, and hopefully they'll do a little bit better job.
No.
Okay, so we just have a little bit of dirt from the last colony, and I'm just going to grab that out of there. That can often contain a lot of the bacteria and stuff that, you know, the worms aren't the only ones that are breaking down the soil in the colony like this. And that soil left over from the last colony can have a lot of microbial growth in it that'll actually help start this colony off right and nice and healthy. Alright, so Aiden's gonna add our worms to our worm factory. Not individually, you can just dump the whole thing in. And then we're gonna go ahead and put some garbage around. Just a little bit, not too much. There's only 100 worms in there, so we don't want to go overboard on it, more than what they can eat. But we're just gonna get them something to get started, as well as some more soil, keep it at a nice moisture level, and then we'll monitor.